This year has been really hard. We're coming to the end of October. There's a storm raging outside. It's cold. It's really dark during the day. And I'm running out of enthusiasm. I haven't really made much this year. I have a really full shop, but the consumer climate isn't great at the moment. Economic crisis, cost of living crisis, interest rates. There's so much going on in the world. It's just, where do you start? As you can see here, I have just acquired a new piece of furniture. It's actually an old piece of furniture and it's a family heirloom. Hasn't cost me anything. That's the best thing about it. It's a really good piece of storage. It's as tall as me. It has big deep drawers. There's a big sliding section at the top. So I've decided that this is the perfect time to have a little studio declutter ready for the winter. Often when I do this and I have a tidy up, and especially when I make more space, I'm getting a little bit of extra floor space back and things will be more organised. It makes me a bit more enthusiastic and makes me want to make stuff, do a few more product videos. It's very easy to get stuck in a rut. So I found loads of stuff that I'd put aside to sell on Vinted. It was just clothes that I didn't wear anymore, and the bags had eventually found their way to the back and I'd forgotten all about them. So I've been putting a lot of stuff on Vinted and I've sold quite a few things this week, so that's been really good for my enthusiasm. What I've done now is I have a recess in the corner of this room, and that's where all the boxes of stock, all my packing materials, and I have several big suitcases, and that's where I usually store my materials. Now I have this piece of furniture and there are nice big deep drawers in it. I can put the fabrics in there and know exactly what I've got, rather than having to pull out suitcases, which means moving lots of other things out the way, and it just becomes so boring. So I've emptied a lot of it. I now have two massive suitcases, which these were full of all my current fabric stock because I just had nowhere else to keep them here. So I've got to decide what to do with them. Do I get rid of them or do I keep them? They could be really handy storage elsewhere, so I'm going to look at where else I can put them. But I've now got a bit of a gap appearing here, and I still have one drawer empty at the bottom, and I have boxes of all the haberdashery, so I could put all that in there and get rid of 3 or 4 more boxes. Because I'm not selling very much at the moment, I've built up quite a big supply of packing materials, and I'm wondering whether to store those in the suitcases and put them somewhere else, maybe under bed or on top of wardrobes, just so I'm not looking at it, because I've got IKEA bags full of just full of bubble wrap and shredded paper, and I get gifted all this stuff, so it's very hard to say no when you see a really good bit of packaging. I've got polystyrene chips. I reuse and recycle all my packaging. I never buy packaging except for sticky tape, because it's very hard to seal a parcel. I have loads of jiffy bags, loads of cardboard, loads of slim cardboard, like you know, the Amazon envelopes, which are great for flat packing things like buttons and fabric and putting things in the post. So that helps me keep my costs down. So today is pretty much a declutter. I think I'm going to use these to put all my packing materials in for now, get them out of this room and allow me to get to the back a bit more, because there's just so much here. So that's what I'm going to do first. Right, it's now quite a few hours later, although it's same day. Decluttering sometimes is as good as doing a day's work, and I feel like I've done really well here. I've emptied out loads of boxes. All the haberdashery items are now in the bottom drawer of my new storage unit. I found lots of fabrics to put onto my Etsy store because I list all my haberdashery just on Etsy, so I've added a whole load of new listings. If you're looking for fabrics and other haberdashery, check out my Etsy store because that's where I stock them. I have a number of fabrics which I've kept out because they've given me inspiration for things that I can do. I've put others away for another time. I've been really ruthless about throwing out fabric remnants. I used to keep everything because I couldn't bear the thought of chucking fabrics into landfill. But to be honest with you, a lot of it just isn't usable. It's just no good for me. So I now have this enormous IKEA bag full of little pieces of fabric. And I'm going to go to the recycling centre in my town next week. They have a fabrics recycling section. I have an old suitcase to throw out, not one of the red ones that I showed earlier. There was another one that I was using for other things. The zip's gone on it and I was just using it to put stuff in. That can now go. I don't need that anymore. So that's, and it was almost like a full-size suitcase, holiday suitcase. So that's quite a lot of space I've gained back. And I now have more floor space. It's not enough to work in. I couldn't set a table up on it, but it gives me more breathing space. It makes my studio feel less stifling, and having that space and knowing where everything is really good for your creativity. So I have a number of fabrics that I've found that I have ideas for. Just pieces, things like this, which is a really nice terracotta, almost like a ribbed fabric. It's got like a rib that is almost like a little mini frill. This is a really nice piece of fabric. I know what I can do with that. What else do I have? There was something else here that I was going to use. Oh, I've got some lovely bright blue fabric, which I know what I'm going to do with. And I have lots of other pieces that I might still put on my Etsy store, because I'd rather turn them into money than just sit there whilst I think of inspiration. A lot of these fabrics aren't the sort of things I work with anymore, and some of them have been taken from, from the workshop to here. Some of them were with me even before I moved to the northwest, so I do have a bad habit of clinging on to stuff. But most of the boxes that are now in my recess are packing boxes. So if I sell things that need to be boxed, I have plenty of boxes. I might have to have a clear out though. I feel like I've rather overdone the boxes. Very often what I will do, I flat pack them down and use the cardboard from them as a strengthening material in jiffy bags or in other kinds of packaging when I'm sending things out. But I have an awful lot of boxes at the moment. At least they're easy to dispose of. I can put them into my paper recycling at home here if necessary, and boxes always come in handy for storage. So it's been such a good day. I haven't made anything, but I've made space, and I've made space not only in my studio but in my mind, because I know now where everything is. And with that clutter gone, that thing that's in the back of my mind thinking I really need to get onto that, I really need to sort that, that's now done. I pretty much know everything that I have now. There aren't any mysteries. And that's so good. I have definitely made room. I feel less stifled by stuff, and that's difficult when you have a small amount of space to work with and you're trying to keep everything in one place, but you also know that you need to have lots of stock. So even if you're not in the mood for creating because the weather's horrible, it's cold, it's dark, I wanted to go out and do some errands today, but it's been sideways wind and rain all day. So I've done this instead, and this is a big job that I've been putting off for quite a while, and today just felt like the right day to do it. So this has been a really good day. And now I feel a little bit more inspired to create. I've made enough breathing space room-wise where I can be a bit more, spread out and do some work. And I think that's really going to help, because I feel like I am kind of in the mood to make a few garments to put in my store. And it's been a while, I have to say. So let's see what I can create going forwards.